This is not just another golf podcast. This is Golf Underground. This is Golf Underground. We just happen to be the third funniest podcast in golf. We interview PGA Tour pros, Hall of Fame athletes, rock stars, business leaders. Sure, we talk about golf, but we have fun. All right, let's do it. Welcome to Golf Underground. Now your hosts, Wardo, Sully, and MLB Hall of Famer George Brett.
Thanks for joining the Golf Underground. Now, the Golf Underground is brought to you by Star Companies, KC. Experience a more energy-efficient and comfortable home with Star's insulation services. Regal Distributing, specializing in the distribution of food service and professional cleaning supplies to a variety of industries. Cowell Insurance, providing brokerage and risk management services for over 25 years. Sono Orthopedics, care plans backed by research and clinical results tailored perfectly to individual needs. Bob Sight Ford and Bob Sight Independence Kia, where you'll score a double eagle on your next car or truck. Lewisburg Ford. Nobody sells more F-150s than Lewisburg Ford. And Celebrity Greens. Put a custom PGA caliber putting green in your backyard for the ultimate golf experience. Now, onto the program.
Hey, welcome to Golf Underground. George, Sully, and of course Wardo. We've got a great show because representing the wonderful state of Kansas is a very important golf person.
If you say so.
I mean, like executive director golf. I mean, that's when you can have an executive title with golf on the end of it. You picked a good career. It's not like, insurance salesman or like sales guy like me.
True.
Executive director of, let me give you a formal invite, the Kansas Golf Hall of Fame. And we're going to learn a little bit about what is the objective of this. Of course, you got a great event coming up to celebrate three of Kansas's amazing golfers. And so how about a big round of applause for our girl, Wendi. Let's go, Wendi.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to kind of share a little bit about what Kansas Golf Foundation is and what we do. And then obviously our big Hall of Fame event that's coming up on Monday, October 7th.
Great.
Tell the listeners who is getting inducted.
Woody Austin, Matt Gogel, and Gary Woodland.
Awesome.
Probably
three pretty good players.
Yeah, I think
pretty good players that played a lot of golf in Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm sure a few people have heard of them.
Yep.
Why is Wardo not on that list?
Yeah.
I think he wins one more Mission Hills Club Championship, and he'll be knocking on the door.
Yeah.
I don't
George,
think
you got to
so.
be in the practice squad of this Kansas Golf Hall of Fame.
I don't think I've ever been mentioned in that Hall of Fame.
You got your own. You're doing just fine.
Yes.
I mean, I'm happy where I am.
We are doing just fine. Well, good. Tell the folks the objective of the Kansas Golf Hall of Fame. Why does it exist?
The Hall of Fame is to essentially preserve the history of golf in Kansas. And so we want to honor the contributors to the game that have given back to golf in Kansas. We have professional division, a professional player division. We have the PGA professional division, and then writers division, and then just contributors who, like Judy Bell, for example, is a Hall of Famer. And then there's a lot of amateur golfers. Karen McGee, who is a Kansas City gal, is also part of the Kansas Golf Hall of Fame. And we've got Frank Kirk, who, as we know, all just recently passed, who is a huge supporter. It's a huge loss to Kansas golf. So, and he's passed.
I mean, he's first tee. He's everything.
Everything.
Every aspect of the game of golf, Frank Kirk had money in the game. It was amazing. And that one little par 3 course in the inner city.
Yes.
I mean, I was talking about that today. I have lunch with Frank. Was in a 10-man lunch group that I was in every Monday, and we're making a donation. The other 9 guys, because Frank passed a couple weeks ago, we're going to make a donation. And we were saying, okay, do we give it to that little program over there? Do we give it to the first tee? Frank was real involved with the YMCA. And so everybody's going to think about it. And next Monday, we're going to make a donation to one of those 3.
Oh, that's great.
Because Frank was one of the most generous people in town. and never told anybody about it.
Right.
And that's when you know you're a good dude. You don't go around telling everybody what you do. You just do it.
Right.
Kind of like you, Sully.
I'm so behind the scenes.
Beyond behind
I'm
the
the guy
scenes.
at all the charity events. George is like, honey, put that paddle down.
We don't have that.
Bring it home and spank you.
How many trips to Ireland that you never used do you have to buy?
Well, talk through a little bit about the Kansas Golf Foundation and what you guys are trying to accomplish, kind of the core values and the mission and kind of what you guys are up to there.
Yeah. So the foundation, Phil Miller is the kind of the brains behind the Kansas Golf Foundation. And it was started to preserve the history of golf in Kansas and to grow the game of golf in Kansas. And by doing that, we help college scholars go to college. I don't know if I really said that right. You have to edit that out. So high school kids that have been involved in some kind of golf throughout their years or throughout their life. They don't have to play golf in college, but they have the opportunity to apply for a scholarship, and it's a $10,000 scholarship now, and we give 5 of them away every year. And they have to stay in a Kansas school, university, college, so that all the money stays in Kansas, which I think is awesome. So we do that. And then we also offer junior golf grants. So like there's a kind of like what you talked about, the inner city course that's here in Kansas City. There's a group in Wichita called McAdams, and they created a junior golf program for kids that are kind of inner city or don't have the means to get access to golf or have access to golf. So that's something they applied for our grant, and we gave them some money to help them grow. And we do the first tee also. So we have a couple different things, but really just trying to grow the golf or the game of golf in Kansas and help people have access to it, help the kids.
Why is it so difficult to spread the word to the inner city? You know, for years, people have said, we've got to do more. We've got to do more. And we never really do enough, right? You're doing better than anybody.
We're trying.
But what can the regular person who's listening to this program do to help you or help these kids so we're not just talking, we're actually doing something?
I think what we need is for people that are involved in those areas of the urban city, whether it's teachers or coaches, that reach out to us to say, hey, we need some help, or they need help with getting to the first tee and maybe providing some little scholarships like that we could do just to help fund that. It's tough because I think when people hear golf, they see dollar signs. Mm-hmm. You know, it's expensive to play golf, but that's the whole point of trying to have these junior golf grants and to help these programs be able to get kids in without having to charge a fortune or anything at all. So I think, though, initially, if we could get some support from those teachers that are in maybe those inner city schools or those coaches that are coaching some of those kids in other sports, to know about us, then we can at least help them in turn say, hey, we just want your kids to have an experience with golf. Whether they love it or hate it, we don't know, but at least have that opportunity to try it, because you just never know, you know?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So
you get them at an early age is huge.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's the deal. There's nothing better than playing golf at 3 or 4 o'clock and you're getting through, and then you see all these 8-year-olds carrying their own bags, walking down the fairway, carrying. We're all old. We're riding in carts, you know. We're bitching and moaning that you got to park on the cart path today, and you got to walk up the hill to your cart, you know. And these kids are 8, 9 years old, carrying their bags, playing 18 holes a day. I mean, to me, that's the greatest. I wish my kids would have done it, had an interest in golf back then. They do now. They all love it.
Right.
But I wish they had that interest then. And for us to be able to maybe help young kids get that interest.
Yes.
You know, go out there and play golf would be great.
And maybe this will be the catalyst to something, but I've talked about this with a lot of people, is having some sort of caddy program. I know Indian Hills kind of has one where some kids come over, but like bringing the kids in from the city and getting them exposed to morals and, you know, the ethics of golf and hanging out with very, very successful folks. And I think that would just be a life changer. And, oh, by the way, they put a little money in their pocket, but I can think, of course, like Mission Hills where the golf courses or the cart paths don't run through the greens. It's a lot of walking. And then there'll be a lot of people that don't play because they have to carry their bag, where if they could have some kid.
I would walk every time if I had a caddy. And I don't care if the caddy can read greens. I don't care. No. You got your little rangefinder. Yeah. You go out there. I've been a member there long enough, and you get them interested in the game.
Yeah.
Tom Rosberg. We all know Tom Rosberg. Yeah. Tom Rosberg tells me a story about when he was a kid, he caddied at Indian Hills. And the guys he caddied for were
actual Indians, probably.
No, but the guys he caddied for, were the guys that helped him in business when he graduated college.
Yep.
You develop a relationship with people that are somewhat successful, and you get to know these caddies, and all of a sudden now the guy's graduating high school and he's going, hey, Mr. Brett or Mr. Ward or Mr. Sullivan, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Somebody, what he wants to do, where he wants to go to school, and you make a call for him. To me, it's a no-brainer, and I'm still surprised that, we don't have caddies in the city here.
It's true.
In the city. I'm still really surprised about that.
Well, we all have to do a better job of selling the directors of golf at these places. We talk about it. We've talked about it on the show in the past, but I'm even guilty at Loch Lloyd. I would love that. To your point, rather than me push the old bicycle cart, that's just enough for me to say, screw it. I'll put a 6-pack of High Noons in there and I'll walk. I'll jump in the cart. Mm-hmm. But if I had a kid on my bag, I would do it every time. Yeah. I will tell you, growing up as a caddy, if I look back at all our my friends from back in the day, from age 8, when you're 4 caddying, and then you eventually graduate to you have a bag on each shoulder. It's why I'm only 5'7". I would be 6'3", but the bags were heavy back then.
I kind of wondered why. You were only 5'7".
And then when you get the Rodney Dangerfield one like this, and then the Sunday bag, you're like that.
And then the double.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you got to go double. But my point is I look back, and we still communicate, through LinkedIn and others. Every person who caddy owns their own business, is a VP somewhere. They all killed it. You know why? Because you saw the guy drive up in his fancy Corvette, and you're like, I want to be that guy. Right? Yeah. Not just about the money, but to your point, you're going to rake traps when no one's looking. You're going to refix that ball mark. It's the greatest education. Mm-hmm. We all have to do a better job. So thank God there's organizations like yours, at least to remind us that it's not enough just to say, guys, we got to grow the game. No, we got to do something
about
it.
How do we do it?
That should be something for this radio show or podcast show that we do. We should try to spearhead a caddy program for Kansas City. Yeah. We should try to spearhead it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would do it.
I think you got to get one club to sign off on it, and then
everybody else would.
When George Brett shows up with a passion for something, what are they going to say no to him?
Well, maybe. You never know.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
Well, let's shift gears. Let's hear about the event. Obviously, the event's coming up October 7th.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about choosing this and why all 3 of these players at the same time here.
So we hadn't had a professional golfer be inducted in a while. So these 3 were nominated, and it kind of just made sense that all 3 of them would go at the same time versus having them all spread out. Mm-hmm. And it also made sense that if we had somebody else with them, they might be overshadowed. So it was voted, and these were obviously the top 3. We had some wonderful candidates that were nominated. I believe there was over 22 nominations for this class. So it was a tough class, but it's hard to compete with Woody Austin, Matt Gogel, and Gary Woodland. Yeah. And so we just it's a great opportunity for the foundation and for the Hall of Fame event. And we're thankful that these guys are willing, to actually show up.
And they are the only 3?
They are the only 3 this year. We go every 2 years.
2 years. Okay. Brian Norton was the last, I believe, wasn't he?
Jeff Bury and Phil Miller and Bruce Vaughn were 2 years ago. Okay. I think Brian was the year before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
What's the criteria?
So
other than you have to win a U.S. Open,
that probably helps.
Ryder cover,
and it's a good thing Gary just turned 40, so there's an age. But
Gary, I think I told you.
Patronizing.
I think I told you this is a joke before we get going on serious. Gary goes, now that I've had a brain injury or brain surgery and all this, now they want to stick me in the Hall of Fame. I'm not dead. I'm still alive.
Yeah. Heaven's waiting room is the Kansas Golf Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, though.
That's why I threw in there about the age. But no, there's really no age. You have to be and then a Kansas resident during the period of his or her contributions or accomplishments, and then in the judgment of the Kansas Golf Foundation Board of Trustees, have substantial ties or connections to the state of Kansas. So that's the three eligibility and criteria for being nominated. So I think definitely all three of these, even though Woody is not a born and bred Kansan, but he's been here for years.
Been here forever.
Derby, Kansas.
Derby, Kansas,
Yeah,
which for those of you who don't know where Derby is by Wichita.
I love the story about Woody when he went to college at Washburn and playing basketball. You ever see video of him playing high school basketball? He was really good. Yeah. I mean, really good.
Gary Woodland.
Gary Woodland.
Yeah. Now Woody
Austin. You're talking Woody.
Woody Austin.
Yeah.
Like old Woody versus really old Woody.
Really?
Yes.
So all of a sudden, he goes out and he's playing his first game at KU and he's guarding Kurt Heinrich. And Gary scores 2 points and Heinrich scored 23. And he says, I don't think I'm very good anymore. He went out for the basketball or the golf team the next year.
Yeah, worked nice.
Yeah, amazing.
But Woody used to live here in town.
I believe
he
Woody
used
Austin
to live here.
did.
I played with him. I used to play with him at Wolf Creek. Once in a while. Yeah,
I think Gary, Woody, and Matt all have what they say bags at Wolf Creek.
Yeah.
But I know he's lived in Derby for.
Heath Mayer has one there too.
He is famous.
He definitely has one at Mission Hills because he saved the club.
Yes.
Come on in.
Gary, you got to look at you. There's the fancy camera. We got to get your head in here. Come here. Let's go over here. Look, yeah. All right. So in your journey planning for this October 7th event, is there anything that you learned about these three golfers that you otherwise didn't know? You know, that kind of made them stand out? And
I didn't know Woody or Matt as well. I knew Gary a little bit because Kevin brought him out to Mission Hills a couple times. So the first time I met Gary, Kevin introduced me as Cindy.
I don't think so.
Yes.
He called Gary Cindy or you?
He called me Cindy.
Well, we call him Sherry.
Yeah, I don't think so. I must have had a long night the night before.
That's possible. But he did correct himself and then called me Wendi. Cindy, Wendi. I mean, it's close.
I've done that.
I've known
I do it
Kevin
to Gary.
for a while,
I do it to Gary all the time. So
That's why you call him Jerry.
exactly.
So I've met Gary a couple times. I don't know if he actually remembered me. I did ask him in a text and he's like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's like, okay.
See, there you go.
Sure you do, but I'll go with it. But Woody was, I don't know if I learned a lot about Woody, although I had never heard the Aquaman story.
Oh, yeah.
When he fell in the water?
Fell in the water during the President's Cup.
I've seen that.
You didn't remember the story or you didn't hear the story from him?
I did not hear the story from him.
Got it.
Well,
yeah,
tell
that's a great
the
story.
listener the story. What is it?
Do you know the story?
Well, it was the Ryder Cup, and he had a really tough lie.
Yes.
He was like one of these guys, and he had to kind of go down and get it, and he made contact and did a backflip into the water.
Oh, no.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I think it was the President's Cup.
President's Cup.
Okay.
And then the next day, he brought the scuba mask out.
Yep.
And got it out of his staff bag when he was around that same area on that same hole,
Yes.
I believe.
And I do remember the video of him hitting a bad shot. He'd taken his putter or his wedge and just banging himself on the head. And the next thing you know, his wedge looks like this.
Yes.
I do remember that.
So I petitioned the PGA Tour for videos. And so they sent me a bunch of videos, and that's not the only club he'd ever bent or broke. He had walked off the green and took his putter and just bent it right in half. So
Good for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
I don't know of any other athletes who've gotten angry when certain situations arise.
I agree.
I don't either.
Heath gets angry once in a while.
Yeah.
It's heated.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what's your favorite memory of Gogel. I know mine.
Mine?
Mm-hmm. Like as a player.
What do you want at Pebble Beach?
Yeah, my favorite memory is the year that he lost to Tiger. I think it was a Monday finish. Tiger came back from like 4 to 6 strokes back,
right,
and came back to beat him. The very next year, Gogel had the lead. Tiger was chasing him down, and Gogel ended up winning.
Right.
I don't remember how many he won by, but Tiger caught him, and it's kind of cool. Matt was in here earlier practicing and working on his game. He's going to Pebble for, I think it's that Pro-Am, the Champions Tour Pro-Am deal out there. So back to Pebble.
I mean, it sounds like a tournament you need to be part of. You were part of the traditional.
Yeah, I don't want my trophy there 2 years. My name's on the plaque already. I don't. Let somebody else share it. Sully.
He got punted. That's when him and Freddie won by like 14. He got punted.
Sudden death playoff, baby.
Yeah, they kick you out of member.
I got a 4 for a 3 on the third hole to wrap it up.
George was playing as like a 16 handicap with Freddie, and it's like the guy's it's 5 for 3 all day long, just clipping 22 shots.
Yeah, right.
Hey, so tell us about the event. What's this all about? So you're going to have them all in. Woodland's going to get up. They're all going to get up and do a little speech, very much like your wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So we know he's a pretty good speaker.
I know we got good video. You going to have good video of him?
We will have great video.
Okay.
Yep. We will have great video. So the night's going to go with a nice little happy hour from 5 to 6-ish. Dinner. Super nice dinner, of course. And then Roger Twyble is going to be our MC.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Let's get him on the pod.
There you go.
Well, he's in town. Let's go.
He lives in town. Twyble?
Well, how have we not gotten him?
I don't know. George just needs to ask a friend.
Phone a friend for us.
Okay.
Yes. So anyway, he's going to MC for us. So we'll go with Woody Austin will be inducted first, and then Matt Gogel, and then Gary Woodland will be bringing up the rear. And we just expect a great night and some good speeches. Hopefully some entertainment.
And the
well.
event is where?
Marriott in Overland Park.
Okay.
Monday, October 7th.
Perfect. 5 o'clock.
Yep. And then afterwards, because the Chiefs are playing the Saints, Monday Night Football starts 7:25. We are hoping to wrap up around 8-ish. So afterwards, everybody is invited and welcome to go to the Marriott bar there, and we're going to have a little Chiefs watch party.
And you can do that till halftime and then go home and watch the second half.
Or just stay the whole night.
What I will do, I will just
stay.
tape. I will tape the first. Just tape.
Yes, absolutely.
Tape. And then when you get home, you watch it.
That's right.
There is that.
Do the right thing for the state of Kansas, please.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Right? We'll be undefeated at that time. It's getting boring, really.
Yeah.
Heath, what's your favorite Gary Woodland memory?
Just the very first time I played with him, it was absolutely incredible how hard he hit the ball. Like, everyone talked about it, but then when you actually do it for once, you're like, wow, this is kind of like you always said about Bo Jackson when he would come up to the plate.
Yeah. You never
As a
wanted to
golfer,
miss anything.
As a golfer, when you see Gary hit the ball, it's like, you see Kevin, he murders it, but there's kind of a different speed there. It's a different outlook. I do have more Matt stories because he's more my age.
Let's hear him.
Some of them aren't the most positive, but it kind of sums up Matt a little bit. Because Matt's a great guy and he was a great player. But I was I guess I'm saying back in the day when I played with him, I don't really get to play with Matt very much anymore. But as a freshman, I walked to the first tee and there was a threesome. John Hess, one of your favorite people on the planet. Matt Gogel,
we all love John
the
Hess.
greatest ball striker maybe ever, Brad Bruno. And then Alomar Public is very, very slow, as you remember.
Yep.
So you'd wait on every single shot. And I walked down there, coach had said, well, go down there and play with those guys. And I walked down there and Matt looked at me. John looked at me and Brad looked at me. They shook their heads and John looks and goes, no, we're full.
We already got 3.
We have 3, we're full. So I played and I was on every single tee box with them for 18 holes, talking to them. And then they would hit their shots and go on. And I sat there as a onesome and played 18 holes. And I asked John later and Matt, I go, what was that all about? They said, we only play with guys that make us better. And I said, that's actually very, very accurate. That was a very, very good quote. So we laughed about that for a long time after that. That was a pretty fun story.
What'd you shoot that day?
I don't even think I kept score. I think I was so embarrassed because the people behind me were so mad that I was playing a onesome. And I actually asked them if I could play with them.
They said no too?
They said no too. Yeah.
That's just downright mean.
The Washburn golf team wouldn't let you play with them either, huh?
No, it was fine. It was fine.
That's just downright mean. That's a great
back
story.
Back to what Wendi was saying, one thing we've been talking about in these meetings, because Jorgensen and Wendi, these guys all do a really good job, is this place has become so influential with junior golfers. This isn't late at night. Any kid out there that wants to be a good player, if you don't come listen to these three guys talk about how they did it as kids, how they did it as amateurs, how they did it as pros, you know, what it takes to be a real player. I mean, all the parents out there, what an opportunity to come in and listen to those three guys talk if they're local. I mean, that's about as star-studded as you can get. I know I have two golfers and they're going. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm going to tell them to take notes because those three guys can give them a lot of wisdom and really tell them what it takes to become good players.
That's really well said.
Have you reached out to the high school coaches to remind them of that?
I think,
that's
Craig,
a great idea.
Craig Jorgensen had reached out, and Heath has been helping.
I'm taking a golf team.
Yeah.
Along with Scott Besh.
Yeah.
Going to do that. I've reached out to some of the other, I know so many kids, parents right now, seeing how I'm doing junior golf all the time, that I've told them for their prospective high schools, boys and girls, to buy a table or bring some players. I mean,
they should.
Like the Shawnee Mission East team, I think is going to do it too. I talked to them. Olathe South, I think they're going to do it. I talked to one of the players there who knows my son very well.
I think Kevin.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a table. Unfortunately, it's my son's first birthday, so when I came home all excited about the event, and my wife looked at me and she goes, "You know, that's his first birthday."
Kevin, do you think he knows it's his first birthday? Well, I think you can do it the day before or the day after, and he will never know.
Well, here's my plan. Once he goes down for a little bedtime, I'll be ziplining over there and to catch the tail end of the event. And but I plan on giving my table away and getting some of these kids in there, and then also some influential people here in the city that should be supporting the foundation or should get an entree into that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And the only way I will not be there personally is if the Kansas City Royals are continuing playing baseball in October. Well, you know, you make this schedule last year, October 7th. Yeah, I'll be free. Don't worry about it.
Right.
They won 56 games. They've already won 81 or something. They're in the playoffs if the season ended today. Yeah. But I will buy a table too, Kevin, and to give mine away. But I'm planning on going. Unless the Royals are still playing. Yeah. So I guess I'm not planning on going because I want them to win the World Series.
Well, all good problems to have, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a great problem to have.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what's the dress code?
Semi-formal.
Business attire? Not jeans, but, Peter Moore, golf pants, and a shirt and a blazer.
Yep.
That's
no tie.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If it's a tie, and I don't think Gary's going to want me to say this on the air, but I had to tie his tie for him at the rehearsal dinner.
Yes, you did.
And it was the damnedest thing. I'm saying, you're 38 years old. You don't know how to tie a tie. He said, George, the only thing I know how to do is play golf. And that's all it was.
Did you know his parents thought he would be a pro baseball player?
I did know that because he was
you knew that.
diehard growing up. Well, and it was baseball and hoops, and then golf kind of like got this like small 90-day window during summer and maybe shorter. But I mean, from the moment I remember watching him when I was 16 and he was probably 14. I'm like, there's something different about this kid. And then I remember playing a 4-ball event with him, and he hits this shot on number 7 at Alvamar. It's like a back left flag, and it's like this towering 7-iron from 210 back then, and it's just one hop hits the flag like bottom third and just goes to a foot, and I'm like, this kid's different.
He missed the putt, big deal.
He probably missed it.
So let's take a break.
You want to take a break?
Let's take a break.
All right, let's take a break, George.
Break it is.
Listen to Golf Underground from the stable.
Cowell Insurance Services is your leading program administrator for workers' compensation. They're dedicated to meeting the unique challenges of the insurance industry and assisting employers in reducing their costs. CIS has provided insurance claim and loss control services to various industries, including trucking, construction, retail convenience stores, and healthcare, as well as public entities for over 30 years. They work with both retail agents and industry clients, or a combination of the two. If you're tired of fighting the rising costs of premiums and claims, give Cowell Insurance Services a call. Their dedicated staff is ready to find you the best insurance option at the most competitive price. They can help to define or enhance your safety program in order to move you in the right direction in reducing your claim and premium costs. Contact Cowell Insurance Services today, 816-214-4070.
What's up, Underground? Sully here with a message from our friends over at Bob's Site. Now, buying a new vehicle can be a bit like buying a new set of clubs, which means when you want to drive the ball straight, you seek advice from experts, golf pros like our boy Wardo. And when it comes to buying your next car or truck, you also need expert advice so that you drive away in style. Well, you now have options with the Site family's expanded dealership, now including Honda and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Lawrence, Kansas. And they're there to guide you to the perfect vehicle. With a commitment to exceptional service and a real passion for helping each customer, they're like the trusted golf pros of the auto world. And they're ready to analyze your needs and match you with your ideal ride. So step into bobsite.com or visit their Lawrence locations. Experience the difference of a team that's dedicated to helping you navigate your options, ensuring you drive off with confidence and satisfaction. Hey, Brian Sullivan of Golf Underground with my favorite orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Kevin Wendi from Sano Orthopedics. Hey, Doc, golf season's over. My back is killing me. I know it's football season, so you got a lot of kids coming in, blown ACLs, all sorts of body parts with problems. And then, of course, those baseball players. I know you fix a lot of elbows. Why is Sano Orthopedics the absolute best sports medicine orthopedic group in Kansas City?
Well, if you want to see the guys in town who've had the best orthopedic fellowship training in sports medicine, including training with Dr. James Andrews and Dr. Larry Lemack, come see us. We individualize patients' plans to get them back to that activity and that sport that they love. And we actually care and listen to our patients and follow up with them and make sure that they're getting the results they need.
Okay, and so the three things that separate you: number one, best training; number two, you specialize in getting people on that field; number three, you're actually listen. Where can I learn more? Because you got me all in, and I don't really want to get fixed, but it's time.
At SanoOrthopedics.com, 816-525-2840.
Hi, this is George Brandt, Hall of Fame baseball player, and I've been playing golf for over 35 years. Hitting the ball far was never my problem, but the closer I got to the greens, that's when my problems began. When I wanted a golf practice area in my backyard, I called Celebrity Greens. They are the industry leader in custom-built synthetic golf greens. These championship caliber, low-maintenance greens roll great, react like real bent grass, and hold chip shots that check and spin. I absolutely love mine, not only in Kansas City, but also in Arizona. Call the pros at Celebrity Greens at 1-888-507-7960 or visit them online at celebritygreens.com. Practice like the pros, or people like me that want to be pros, right in your own backyard.
Hey, Brian Sullivan, Golf Underground, with a little tip for you. If you're looking to buy a new Ford, you have to check out my buddy, Jason Gudenkoff at Lewisburg Ford. They've been saving Midwest Ford buyers thousands of bucks for over 40 years because they do business the right way. They sell everything, check this out, for $50 over invoice. That's simple and cheap. And they win a lot of awards. In fact, they won Ford's President's Award 17 times. That's the top Ford award. And they only give it to dealers with superior customer satisfaction in sales and service. So they know how to take care of customers better than anybody. Now, what these guys know how to do also, keep this in mind, sell trucks. Lewisburg Ford has sold more F-150s than any other Ford dealership in greater Kansas City. That's 2 years running. And last year, they were the number one F-150 sales leader in the entire state of Kansas. So, no hassle. $50 over invoice pricing, unparalleled customer satisfaction, and a huge selection. That's a perfect recipe for selling trucks. So, check out all their inventory and prices online at lewisburgford.com or give them a call at 816-444-2300.
New golf clubs, a big screen TV to watch the U.S. Open, or maybe even a new golf cart that I've got my eye on.
No matter how you choose to spend the savings, if you're looking to put a dent in your monthly heating and cooling bills, the answer may be right over your head. If your attic isn't insulated properly, you're missing out on a prime opportunity to cut costs. Call the certified energy experts at Star Companies, Inc., 816-353-2160 for a free estimate to learn how they can help you save money. 816-353-2160 or visit starcompanieskc.com.
Hey, welcome back. Golf Underground. We're having a great time today with Wendi Brandt. She's the executive director of the Kansas Golf Hall of Fame. We were talking about a great
golf foundation.
Okay. And so October 7th, a great event's coming up. If you're a fan of golf, if you want to pay it forward, if you know of any kids who love the game, you've got an opportunity to be with 3 amazing Hall of Famers, and Woody Austin, and you got Gogel, who's a hell of a guy. By the way, he can talk, right? He does a great job in his career. That alone, he's done a hell of a job. And if I had a young golfer, I'd want him to be listening to him. And of course, Woodland. What can you say about him? So sign up, find a friend, bring someone. We owe it.
How do you sign up?
How do you get tickets?
So you can go to our website at kansasgolffoundation.org. And if you click on the slider that's on the very first page that opens up, and then it will take you to where you can buy tickets. Or email me at Wendi, WENDI at kansasgolffoundation.org, and I will take care of it. We still need table sponsors for $2,500 if anybody wants to buy a table of 10. So grab a group and you can join us.
Love it.
That's great. And you got Twyble doing the...
Roger Twyble. Yep, is doing our MC.
Every person who comes and works out here or gets lessons here better be buying tables. Gudenkopf, you better be listening.
Goody, you better show up.
Yeah.
Text all week. I've been texting him. Have you bought a table yet? And he hasn't even gotten back to me yet. So
Right.
Well, let's put the full court press on all of them, Hammy.
Well, we have Harry and all the instructors, all our golf buddies here, Harry and Charlie. They'll all be there, won't they?
Well, assuming they're in town, I think Q School has some some conflict here and there. So,
Charlie,
guys will be there.
Yep.
Forgot to mention that.
The good guys.
All the young guys will know the good golf. Dan Mullen's kid, who's on the board, is one of the good guys. And they're going to be at the Hall of Fame induction as well.
I thought you were
That's
talking
awesome.
Brooksy on the green. Good. That's good. That's good. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So now you're on the board of directors of this.
No, I'm on the Friends of the Foundation.
Friends of the Foundation.
That's like second
okay.
level.
Okay.
That's like playing a one-some. I'm not quite good enough to be on the board.
So they have a meeting with you, and then they say, okay, you guys can go now. We're going to go and close the door and have another meeting.
I buy the beer, and then they're like, okay, Heath, you can leave now. And then they have the actual real meeting.
Okay, so you can actually sit in on the meeting. You just can't vote.
Oh, that's right. Okay. There you go.
There you go.
When you started saying the schedule, you said we have a happy hour, and you looked she looked right at you.
She looked right at you.
For a while.
Sully, I think so. Sully, you going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to
pop up
I'm not
one Chiefs game, one home game. Maybe missed part of it.
Tape it. I need to go to every Chiefs game. I don't go to every Chiefs game. I go to every Missouri game.
Right.
But I am a Kansas
Not road
fan.
game. Not road game.
Thank
I'm
you.
one of those weird guys.
You
Right?
don't go to the road games.
Now we'll go to Alabama. We'll go to Alabama.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, we're going to, so, which I'm sorry about the Jayhawks had their loss this week. I am a Kansas fan. I'm the only one in town who's a Mizzou and a Kansas. I even kind of like K-State. Basically a war. I'm a transplant. I don't care. I want all my friends to be happy. Right? It's that simple. Hey, as we're wrapping up, because George has got to get to the Royals game, and I want to ask kind of all of you, because you've been around the golf world. How's the state of the game and the future of the up and comers? You get to see a ton of them here. How does this relate to when you and Gary and some of the others were making their way with the ultimate objective of someday being at the Kansas Golf Hall of Fame?
Well, just from a high level junior development, it's just so different, right? Because more kids are specializing or maybe playing less sports and going deeper on those sports. Obviously, there's a much longer season for these kids to be successful and go compete against the kids in the South. And then obviously all the resources, technology, all the things. So from a player development standpoint, whether it's Kansas or Oklahoma or whatever, we're in such a great spot. And obviously the game is more and more competitive. We're getting the Woodlands of the world that are now picking up the clubs when they're, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, taking a liking to it. So it's so many more athletes, the Westmorelands of the world, that can just flat out play with sheer strength and power. So that from that standpoint, I think the game couldn't be in a better spot. I can't really speak for the PGA Tour Live and all that, me personally, I'm watching less golf now than ever. That might be where I'm at in life. And I just think the divide, there's less big names that are on the top of the leaderboard week in, week out. And so, but I think all in all, I think the game's growing. There's millions of people picking up the club, especially on the women's side and the junior side. I mean, it's just crazy.
And I think that there's so many good teachers that are available to these juniors now. In the past, there weren't a lot, right? And then it was maybe hard to find them or hard to get into them, or maybe the barrier was the parents didn't have the money to do it. And now there's just so many good teachers across the board, like Kevin and what he's doing here. And there's, in Wichita, there's some great teachers down there. I mean, through the whole state of Kansas, even if you go out to, Garden City, that's Western Kansas, for those who don't know where Garden City is. And that's almost to Colorado border, which is Western Kansas, not Salina. That's not. And speaking of Salina, there's Randy Searing, who's there and who's also a Hall of Famer, Kansas Golf Hall of Famer, and a great teacher. So I think just having more access to so many good teachers is going to help these kids. There's 2 girls in Wichita that one is on the USGA women's or USGA junior world team. And that's so exciting to have somebody from Kansas that's playing on, that got on. It's a highly competitive, as Kevin said.
Technology. And the technology.
Yeah.
They come in here, he's got three simulators. They look at all their stats. They get their clubs fitted, and it's fun. It really is. And I play with your kids a lot. Patty is how old? 13, and Henry's 16. We play with them in our group.
Really? That's cool.
I'm 71, Jigger 74, and Dick 73, and we'll play with those 2. We'll play at 5.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they're good. They're really good.
They should.
They can't shame them. His 13-year-old son, Patty, who's the smallest kid, he's really small. He hasn't had his growth spurt yet like Henry has, but he plays the 3 tees with us, and Jigger, who hits it down the middle every time, plays the tees up. And we can't shame Jigger enough to come and play the tees with a 12-year-old kid.
That's funny.
And I think back to all of this, it's like the state of the game it's just like a lifelong sport / there's so many learning experiences that are parallels, right? And so when you get a kid that comes in and he might oversleep or he forgets about his lesson, or that's a talking point for down the road of missing a meeting or whatnot. And so preparation and just all those little intangible things, those are the things that I take pride on. And when I know that a kid has had a great experience here with us over years, we'll stay in touch through college, when he's out of college, and we've been impactful on them. Or I had a kid that's going to medical school asked me for some reason to write a letter of recommendation. Like that tells me we're doing something more than just golf.
Yeah. So I think when we started this, what was then a radio show 5 years ago, remember who did we have on the 2 young kids?
James Ackerman and Chance Wrinkle, who are now freshmen at Nebraska and Iowa, respectively. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
What grade they were? They were in 7th and 8th grade. They came in, little fellas, and they were cocky too. Yeah, I've had 14 hole-in-ones. Cocky little bastards. I'm like you, right? But it's so funny. Now you look at them, and they're men.
They're men's. Yeah.
It's awesome. Crazy. Well, listen, one thing I'd say about every time I walk in this door to do this show and I see Charlie and Harry Hill, these kids,
Wade and
Wade, and that's what you're describing. Is you can walk in one building and see 2 guys on the Corn Ferry Tour. Right. Wade, who's had an amazing amount of championship golf. You got one of the best in America, who's learned from some of the best in America. Mm-hmm. This didn't exist 30 years ago. No. One spot, walk in one door. You needed your dad, who happened to know the one guy who everyone's fighting for, who was probably 84 years old. There wasn't an army of folks like this. So you got to take advantage of it. But as a result of that, we also have to give back, right? Because you guys work, and this team works way harder than the money that comes in. So it's a passion. It's not just about a career. And so,
can I say something before I go?
Yeah.
Heath, earlier we were talking about the caddies. What's that Evans Scholarship?
Yeah,
up
Evans.
in the at Sankaty. I go up there and I played Sankaty whenever I've been up there. And one day I was playing with a guy named Frank Quilly or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Good friends with he's good friends with Brian Norton.
And
I got a chance after I played with Frank. I went over and visited with all the kids. They put them up in dorms and, they smoke, they drink, they're gone. They're kicked out. Yeah. And they end up paying for colleges and stuff like that. I don't think any club here is going to do that. But if we could get together as a group of people and try to get caddies at some of the local courses, I think would be great.
Yeah.
I'd love it.
It's a great learning experience for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's something that we should get together and say, okay, let's do this. Let's do it.
Well, Missouri has an Evans Scholar House.
At what course?
I just know they have a house with the scholarship, the Evans Scholarship guys there. So maybe the new one that they just built out on that side of Columbia, where we had the PGA Junior League the other day. Yeah. But I do not
call there.
I don't think KU or K-State has one, but I do think Missouri has one. But that's a great idea. You know who was really big into Evans Scholars was Mike Dunn, Pat and Kevin's Dunn dad.
Yeah.
He was a big guy.
There's a guy at Indian Hills that's a big Evans Scholar guy.
Yeah, Rickett would know that one.
Yeah, Rickett would know. I can't think of the guy's name.
Yeah.
Well, let's get some caddies and caddy exposure here in the city and figure out how to do it.
Almost got fired a couple times. You got fired. You and I almost got fired the 16th hole and 17th hole. I was going to carry Patty's or Henry's bag, and you were going to carry.
Yeah, we were just going to pull a swap and walk down 18 with the different players' bags. Because neither one of our players were talking to us.
Hey, at least it happened late in the round. So,
all right. Well, listen, Wendi, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for all your work to promote this great program. Thank you for putting the time and the talent into help the crew. And we're here to support you. We're going to get some people in those seats because the kids and just the state of golf here in Kansas need it. So thank you. Hope you enjoyed this program. Hey, George, you're going to go off. You're going to bring home a big victory for our Royals.
Big series.
Are we going to win the division?
I think the Indians, I heard today that they have the 4th toughest schedule in the American League. Ours is the 9th hardest. So we got Detroit, who's playing good right now. Mm-hmm. We got them 3 games at home off Thursday. And we got to beat them 2 out of 3. If we sweep them, that's even better. Then we got the Giants coming in. I don't even know how they're doing. They're in the other league. Mm-hmm. Then we go to Washington. They're not doing well this year. Hopefully beat them 2 out of 3. And then Atlanta. Atlanta's Atlanta. They've had a ton of injuries. Hopefully they're in it or out of it, so they'll rest some players. And we'll be fighting to get home field advantage in the playoffs. But, I mean, it's been an unbelievable year. You win 56 games all last year and lose 106. And now we've already won 82 with 12 to go. So it's the best turnaround in the history of baseball, and hopefully it'll end on a better note than that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, hey, we got to support our Royals just like we do.
That's right.
The Kansas Golf Foundation.
And the Chiefs.
All right, guys, hope you had fun. We'll see you next week. The Golf Underground from the stable.